Alright, I'm back. Let's get back to reading page 84, the work of Carmen. Part 2, passenger car train repairs. Hanging the doors and applying fixtures. In hanging the doors, the mechanic must cut the grains of the door post on the door with the hold of the hinges butt, which are held with the four or more screws. He must also be able to fit the door-to-door opening with a proper bevel so that it will easily open and close. The rule for applying a door-to-door opening is it must be fitted with so to allow the insertion of 5% at any point of the perimeter of the door and not more. The application of the door lock requires the considerable experience of these different every of the class car. Some of these simple in their mechanism and the construction, other than numerous parts, require them to complicated gains be cut in the door in order to apply them. So some of the locks are especially constructed so that they may not be stolen from the door. They serve the other purposes as well, and not only a man who has experience with these locks is able to remove them. Same skill and knowledge is required to apply them properly. After the lock is fitted to the door, the keeper of the door must be fitted so that exactly then that when the door is closed, pulling the knob without turning it will not cause the door to rattle the keeper and the plate into which the lock is fits. The Carmen fits and applies platform step tread rubber. He applies for the handrails, which made according with the Safety Compliance Act requirements. In the branch for the passenger car work, an enormous amount of variety of screws are used. The most of the trimming serving the ornamental as well as useful purpose for the Carmen must choose the proper screws to hold each part. Must apply them uniformly. These screws may not only differ in size but in color. Some of the bright brass or some are bronze. Others have heads enameled yellow or red. If the trimming work less done with before the car is in service, it is often necessary to work with very high speed in order to get the car done on the date it is scheduled to leave the shop. Alright, the brass room. As stated before, between the time of their removal and the time of the reapplication of the car, the metal trimming are repaired in portion of the shop, specializing in that work. Some of the different work done in this room explained below. All the different locks removed from the car and the door locks and sash locks, Yale cabinet locks, drawer locks, are examined and repaired by the locksmith. The locksmith is a skilled mechanic. He must know how to repair and assemble all of the different kinds of locks that fit them and the keys when required. At the time the new part renewed for the repair of the lock are not available, he must make parts of himself with a brass plate bar. The mechanic in this department repair door checks and must be familiar with assembling, repairing, making with the part with the various types, Yale's, Corbin, Norton, etc. Where the legs and other portions of the basket are missing, the mechanic fashions attach new ones. The lamps, when removed from the car, are brought through there for the cleaning and repairing any new parts needed for the fire extinguisher, cup, vending the machine, brake handles, and vestibules tailgates are repaired. Vestibule tailgates are holding gates that are drawn across the end of the opening of the last coach on the train to prevent passengers from falling off. Oxidizing enamel trimmings. All screws used with the trimmings are washed and sort of damaged ones thrown in scrap. When required, these screws are organized in bronze by dipping them alternately in nitric acid in solution of sulfuric acid. They are rinsed with clean water. The most often they are diapered with a darker and brasser becomes. In some cases, the brass trimmings are enabled yellow and red, some other color. The head surface screws of the trimmings are enabled to match while the enamel is still wet. The trimmings are put into the drying over an oven and baked, which causes the enamel to start to harden. Lacquering. Many of the trims are sandblasted, after which they are lacquered. Lacquer composition Fusel oil and shackle. Some of the varnishes guns when some sprayed on parts until they were well coated. Lacquer gives the shining bronze appearance of the trimming. The mechanic which shoves the lacquering must wear a respirator over his nose and mouth as used with the compressed air spraying scanners and composition about all small particles which, if inhaled, would be injurious. Further improving the inhalation of the odor of the woody alcohol fused oil injurious in the hot, close weather, very uncomfortable to wear one of these respirators. Silver plating. Any brass parts requiring is to be buffed and brought to the high polish of the buffing wheels and brushes. The mechanic does that. The buffing also does the silver plating and resilvers the mirrors when needed. To make the plating solution, the mechanic will dissolve silver in nitric acid, which solution fizzes, releasing hydrogen into the atmosphere, which is left over silver nitrate. This precipitates by putting a sodium chloride, which separates the solution precipitation silver chloride to bottom, leaving the sodium nitrate at the top. Alright, silvering mirrors. To the mirrors, a solution of nitrate silver, the ammonia tartaric acid, distilled water is poured over the glass. In about 1/2 an hour, a thick deposit of silver will form. And if in the temperature of the glass is kept to at 100 degrees Fahrenheit, a coat of the shellac after rinsing helps to keep the silver on. After the different silvering solutions are used. Some of the shop the apparatus electrical plating, which requires the mechanic to be familiar with the electrical equipment, as well as with the chemicals used. The Carmen platter silver plates and burnish all the locomotive headlight reflectors. Alright, other passenger car work. The car must be skilled work with not only with wood but in the metal. The time was when he could fairly call the coach carpenter, but now only must be skilled carpenter, but the must be able to repair steel and composite equipment as well. Reinforcement wood equipment. Many wood passengers are not being equipped with reinforced steel underframe and steel center sills and anti-telescope steel ends. The carman must not only make the necessary changes in the body frame, but also know that what changes are required in the bottom of the arrangement of the tanks, battery boxes, brake equipment, and drafting rigging. This work is very often done with the aid of blueprints. Steel car repairs. The same method is used to repair steel parts, but the passenger cars are used to repair steel freight equipment. Steel passenger cars do not present the difficulties met with the carman repair dump tower mechanism, and likely on the freight train cars, the number of the damaged cars received no greater for the sake of the appearance of the damaged exposed passenger cars are scrapped, whereas freight car work carman straightens every knot but fractured between the posts underneath the inside of the finish of the passenger cars. The carman applies the hair left mineral wool, deaden the vibration noise, and given with the fourth of the steel when subjected to the shock of the surfaces. Mineral wood appearance is what in the name applies. It is made of molten slag. Against the cold blast, the compressed air is turned on. Air is turned. 27 shows the anti-collision bulkhead. Many steels have floors deeply corrugated with steel over the cement composition laid. The cement is similar to sidewalk cement, except for instead of sand or other lighter materials is used. The floor were hollow with the azels and requires renewal. The carman must chisel all the cement from the above and between the corrugations of the steel foundation. The work is exceedingly hard. After the steel foundation has been cleaned, the carman mixes and applies the cement using the mason trowel and float. To get good results, the cement must be mixed and be properly consistently, that is neither too thick nor too watery. Or your steel inside finish. In cars having steel inside finish, portions of the wall floor becomes rusted or decayed with the moisture of the carman. Use the sheet steel to renew these parts and need for the conservation skill to fashion, shape, and correspond with the part to which it's be applied. Figure 28 shows the view of the interior postal car. To repair postal cars properly, the car must known as the federal requirements to space allowed. The slope of the racks, measurements for the clearance necessary must be able to build, repair sorting tables, distribution racks. With those cars receiving the extensive alterations, they are inspected with a representative of the post office department before leaving the shop. Dining cafe and buffet cars. Dining cafe and buffet cars are equipped with a cooking range and grid number to icebox and lockers. Every inch of the space for the car is utilized, but the car must be working with the cramped quarters while building these parts. Building a diner car icebox requires the utmost skill in the measurement and use of tools. Figure 29 shows another view of the postal interior. Private cars. The maximum mechanical skill is exerted with the preparing of the private cars when ready for the service. These cars must run without the slightest squeak and the rattle as far as humanly possible to prevent every portion where gained into the floor, the wall, ceiling, tips of the strip of the flannel. After general repairs, private car has a trial trip over the division. Foreman and one mechanic sometimes ride with it, and it is the duty during the trip to detect cracks, rattles, and insertions which cause them. Sometimes it's loose of the curtain bracket that rattles. Sometimes it's a hidden post or brace that will squeak. The inspectors mark the location of the noise as near possible. When the car returns to the shop, the carman ingenuity is taxed to eliminate it. Truck work. There are many types of passenger car trucks and serviced under the cars of any one road. The truck is structure built when they hold the wheels in place under the car. They distribute the car weight evenly to all axle journals to provide springs to absorb the shock. When the car is running, some of the trucks have 4 or some 6 wheels. Every car has 2 trucks, and exactly the center of the truck is a steel casting circular pattern called the truck center plate. On the body bolster of the car, there is like a center plate called the top center plate. The top center plate fits in the bottom center plate, and a large pin or king bolt is inserted into the hole with the center of the bolt when these two center plates are active with the swivel on which the car rides. Sometimes the truck has wooden sills, wooden ends, wooden bolsters. Other trucks are sandwiched in plated trucks or wooden trucks having steel plates added to each side of the frame and timbers. The heaviest truck have a frame of the cast steel. The steel truck frame is generally in one piece and weighs approximately 3,500 pounds. Alright, outlining the rebuilding of a four-wheel wooden truck. Refer to figures 26 on page 73. When received at the shop with the repairs for it, is often found that the wooden parts for the smaller trucks are broken and decayed, but the required renewal and accomplish this. Truck must be entirely dismantled. The jack is placed under the sill of the car about midway between body bolster and insill, as the side sheeting and the generally extend with 1/4 in which below the side sill the small block is placed on the jack, so the lifting force exerted on the heavy sill, not against the thin edge of the sheeting. While the weight of the car is still on, then the electrical springs number 63 are clamped and inserting the bolts between the leaves and plates on the leaves in which such a way when the bolts have been tightened, the clamps keep the springs compressed after the car weight has been removed from them. This is done in order to easily pull out the spring from through the space between the truck and the side number 62, equalizer number 64. The truck check chains the number 68 and unhooked, blocked and placed under the wheels of other truck to prevent it from rolling. The car is jacked up sufficiently to allow the truck to be rolled out without striking the steps. Horses are still holding the car. Dismantling the truck parts. The pedestal tie parts number 58 are let down, removing the split keys, double nuts from the bolts that hold the truck with the frame pieces and end pieces to the pedestal casting. The brake shoes then are removed from the brake beams and then let down, removing the brake safety strap. Number 20, unhooking the hangers and disengaging the brake beam king post number 163 from the brake lever. The brake beam safety strap number 20 are simply loops with a flat iron that go around the brake beam and are bolted to the truck end. They prevent the braking beam from falling to the track should it become unattached. The bottom brake rod with the number 172 is disconnected with the truck frame and is jacked up, lifting the pedestal number 67 from the journal box to number 55, and the wheels rolled out. The truck frame is set on the horses when the journal boxes are placed on from the journals number 240, and the wedge of the journal box is removed from the box. The figure 30 shows how a hot journal box wedge and bearing set of the axle journal. The truck bolster number 175 is lifted with the pinching one end of the up at the time of the bar with the putting of the 2x4 in place under it at the center plate number 177. The bottom side bearings number 48 are removed from it. Lifted bolt springs number 63 are now pulled out, and the bolt end pedestals are removed and allowing it to drop to the floor. Let's down the equalizer number 64, which allows the coil spring number 60 to see on the rest of the beam removed. All the one pedestal is let down. The equalizer can be disengaged from the other. The lower spring pivot number 172 is let down with removing the split keys to each of these ends, hammering the hangers of the number 172 to the side. Let's down with the spring plate, which has the bolts extending through the lower spring hanger pivot number 172. The spring plate hangers number 170 are removed. They are held by the bolts and extended through the truck's frame center and cross pieces. Dismantling the truck frame. This leaves only the truck frame left dismantled. The truck frame generally consists of the two truck ends, two truck centers, cross pieces, and 4 truck wheel pieces. The truck center cross pieces extend from side to side and either side of the truck bolster number 175 for each of these two truck centers cross pieces to the truck ends are fitted with the two wheel pieces. The parallel with the truck side of the bolster rods holds with the frame together, removed from the parts and separated by the knocking of the mortise pieces of the tendons on others. The old timbers are taken to the mill, samples where they are layered out. Markers are new timbers necessary, holes, tendons, and mortises or grains. At a small shop, the Carmen repairing trucks masterfully lay out his timbers, and where there are no mill facilities, he must frame them by hand. Sometimes the mill machinery consists of one circular cross-cut saw. The Carmen ingenuity and resources are able to make it cut in gains and tendons and partly cut mortises. Alright, assembling the truck frame. After milling, the car man cleans the mortises and trims the tendons at each of the timber of the truck side, placed on the low horse of the truck center cross pieces fitted into them. The tendons on the cross piece fit together, and the mortise on the truck sides are required to heavy sledging to driving in. The truck center crosses the pieces generally tossed and rods gained at each end of the side of them. Figure 31 shows a wooden truck frame partially assembled. The rods are bent in the center from the sort of the shallow V, therefore the gain of the cross piece must be as shortly shaped accordingly with the angle V of the rods does not exactly correspond With the angle of the V gain with the timbers, it requires effort skill to get the rods in. The ends of the four rods go through the truck sides. The blades with the V rods do not strike the truck side of the right angle. Therefore, the holes in truck sides through which extends must be bored at angles suit with the angles of the rod and the angle of the holes do not perfectly correspond. The Carmen has the greater difficulty in getting the rod to go through. After the nuts on each of the end of the rods have been tightened, the truck center front cross pieces are securely held in position. The truck frame at this point with the construction is like an outline shown in Figure 31. The tenons and four-wheel pieces are inserted into the mortise of the truck center, and the cross piece of the truck end of the sill are lifted into position. Mortise is fitted with the tenons and truck side of the wheel pieces. After this has been done, the truck frame outlined in Figure 32, the frame complete with the building up of the truck. A light rod extended with the truck center with a cross piece along the side of each wheel with through the truck end. The bolt extended through both the truck end and the truck side of each of the corners are together with the further anchors, which the thread at one end extend through the truck's end sill and have the gib mortise into the inside of the truck side. If the mortise for the anchor gib is cut too low, the inside lip of the pedestal number 67 will partially cover it in making the insertion of the gib impossible without cutting the additional mortises. Applying pedestals and equalizers. One of the pedestals, number 67, is jacked up in position on the truck side. The pedestal casting extension on his inside, similar to lips on the outside, but not so high. The truck side of the dimension fit snugly into place between the lips of the casting, and frequently, while the jacks hold the pedestal casting of the truck, must be sledged down into the 3 bolts, 3 quarters and by 7 inches extend through the face of the pedestal. The 2 bolts and 3/4 inch or 11 inches go down through the truck side pedestal casting from the top. After one pedestal casting is placed in one of the equalizers, number 64 is inserted. The equalizer springs number 230 with the fastened up to the truck side by 1 bolt. The spring seat number 59 are put into place with the equalizer coil springs on set on them. The end of the equalizer is blocked at the level with the end of the resting on the pedestal already applied. The second pedestal is lifted upon the place in the equalizer point at the end of each of the pincher bar, inserted on one of the bolt holes to hold the while putting on the jack under it. Some of the heavy lifting occurs here. The pedestal weighs approximately 155 pounds and requires movement in 2 directions to put in place. Jack cannot assist. Squaring the truck. The truck is squared with the aim of the tram that is each of the corner of the truck must be in the true right angle. The tram is pole on which the 2 gauges points on which can be slid into any of the pointed on the pole. And squaring the truck frame, 1 gauge point is placed on the truck side and point exactly above the wheel center. The other gauge point is placed above the wheel center in a diagonally opposite corner of the truck. The measurement is repeated on the other 2 corners of the truck if the distance is exactly the same. The truck is square for the wheels. The pedestals are squared so that they're hanging absolutely vertically on the truck side. They're very important that it determines whether the general box and bearings sit in correct position on the axle. Alright, applying elliptical springs. The spring plank hangers number 170 are applied with the lower spring hanger pivot number 172 of the attached. The spring plate number 61 is tilted and inserted at each of the end of the bolts down through the spring hanger pivot. The spring plank has a plate near each end which was sprung by the spring brand number 63. Sits. The elliptical spring is brought to the truck and laid on the low bench from the level with the equalizer. The roller is placed under it and then pushed into place on the spring plank. The elliptical springs will weigh 230 pounds. Alright, applying the wheels. The journal box number 55 are placed on the axle. Journal number 250 tilted with the journal bearing wedge inserted, but holding the journal box upright with the wheels are rolled in place that have under the pedestal jaws. The truck is jacked down with the jaws off the pedestal of the side, fit in the sides. Each side of the journal box is sometimes exceedingly difficult to get the pedestal jaws to fit properly into the sides of the journal box. Are applying the bolster. Light timbers are laid across the truck center cross pieces. The bolsters in which the center plate of the side bearings have been applied with laid with the timbers above the opening between the center cross piece. The bolster weighs about 260 pounds. One end of the bolster is held up with the pincher bar. One of the timbers removed from beneath it. One end of the left fall onto the elliptical springs. The other end of the bolster is let down in the manner. Applying the pedestal tie bars. The pedestal tie bars number 58 is bolted in place and laying out the 6 holes of the new pedestal tie bar with marking it for the depending on the experienced man would get in the bends so close that the casting of the bolt could not draw it tightly. He would probably space holes wrongly, make it impossible to insert the bolts. The brake beam hammers, brake beam number 162, brake beam safety strap number 20 with the brake beam release spring with the brake lever of the guide number 180 are applied with the truck pieces of number 181. Lower brake rod in 173 is connected. The truck is then pushed under the car and the car let down and the clamps are removed from the elliptical springs. The coupler height of the car measured. The height must be not less than 32 and 1/2 inches, not more than 34 and 1/2 inches. The general rule is 34 and 1/2 inches when new trucks are likely to settle somewhat in the service. Or adjusting coupler height. If the coupler height is too low, one of the man lifts of the spring of the blank of the bar with the pattern placed on the wood shim of the lower spring hanger pivot number 172, but is more careful with the fingers which doing it because of the pinch bar should be slipped the weight of the spring blank which would crush the fingers. If the couple is still too low, the car must be jacked with the truck run out with the bolster lifted. The elliptical spring cap removed and the wooden shim nailed through the bolster, the raise of the height of the bolster and center plate and thereby the coupler. Alright, your side bearing and spring clearance. The side bearing number 48, top of the bottom, must have the proper clearance. There must be enough clearance between the elliptical springs and truck side of the top and the equalizer on the bottom to ensure the freedom of the action. Repeated striking of the elliptical spring against the equalizer when servicing would bend it. Miscellaneous duty. An experienced man could not assemble the truck above described, in which the simplest in the passenger train. So the first mistake he would make would be to jack up the car before clamping the elliptical springs. When he came to remove them, he would then descend to impossible to remove through the opening between the equalizer and the truck side. An inexperienced man would be likely to jack up the car without blocking the wheels of the truck on the other end. If the car started to roll, the jack of the car would fall, causing the damage of the car and danger himself and others. He might put the second pedestal on one side without first putting the equalizer in the place, which means that he would have to gun again remove it and put the equalizer in. He would not only he would not know how to square the truck nor square the equalizer. Possibly he would not know the hand had to square. If he could apply the wheels under the pedestal, they would not be square. If the real result would be cut journals and continuous hot box in the service. Listen, train crew reported if the hot boxes were prevalent under the car, the journal condition might become so bad that the car would be set out on the middle of the run. An experienced man would not know how to adjust the coupler height and would never look in the side bearing of the spring clearance. He would not know how to connect the brake levers and would not put the journal bearings in the backward. He could take this description of the building simple as passenger truck service, and when shown in the pile rods, bolts, and casting that must be truck with it, he would not know where to begin. Alright, your steel six-wheel trucks. The repair of the all-steel six-wheel trucks equipped with the class brakes required the greatest care on account of the great weight of all the parts mechanical must be handled. The truck frame will usually cast one piece of weight, 3,500 pounds. Each of the bolster weighs 481 pounds. The truck center weighs 948 pounds. Each of the side pedestal castings weighs 190 pounds. Each of the four equalizer weighs 300 pounds. Each of the six brake beams weighs 212 pounds. All the other parts are proportional. Alright, poorly equipped shops. Sometimes the largest shop must be, most of the smaller ones, the mechanic must assemble these heavy parts without the aid of an overhead hoist, their tackle, whatever. Except for the use of the Jack Strong's back for the infinite car, but they require to assemble these trucks and add an antidote shop that working is done. The prevalence of the hernia among the Carmen is largely due to the fact that the work of the heavy is done in the shop criminally and ill-equipped to carry on some of the work. Sometimes in order to square up the set of the new pedestal or to more easily weld the number of fractures on the lower side of the frame that is turned upside down, they occasionally done with the shop having no hoist facilities. The message let one of the side of the frame down from the floor and about 20 men tip it over and let it down the bottom side up. It weighs about 3,500 pounds. After 6 pedestals and 4 equalizing have been applied, the total weight of the 5,840 pounds. The mass of the turned right side and care must be taken in turning the entire weight does not result in the pedestal jaws. It would break them off, and almost 2 1/2 tons is dangerous weight of handled with a man's strength only. Alright, the class brake. The class brake is an arrangement of the brakes for the truck on a truck whereby the brake shoes are applied with both sides of the wheels, simultaneously adding brake friction on 6-wheel truck. The single pull from the top connection brings in 6 brake beams, 12 shoes, wheels at one time. The arrangement of the levers connection can be seen and attached in the illustration. It requires much mechanical skill and experience, proper assembly and adjusting them. Safety of all who ride passengers depends upon the integrity of the carman repairing trucks. Omission of the cotter key of the lower brake rod would allow the connection pin to work out. The rod would drop the track, causing the probable derailment of the truck levers when wrongly arranged would cause improper piston travel, harsh and sticky brakes. Figure 33 shows the simplex class brake truck details an eliminated brake scratch. Besides the normal hazards of attending the use of the step ladders and scaffolding and handling the heavy parts of the car, and the carman is continual danger of the disease and infection from the contact with the filth and dust of the car accumulated with the service, the railway car is undoubtedly the greatest germ collector in existence. Every diseased person who travels leaves his imprint therein, being sputum on the floor, spitting on the floor, pipe shields, or in the use of the toilet facilities. Railroad right-of-way are open with the screwer used in the hundreds of thousands of persons daily. The decayed matter returns into dust and is whipped up in the train suction embedded with every crevice of the car whence it descends on the carman in the cloud of the fine dust of each strips and repairing it. In his daily labor, the carman meets the menace to his health, and to him there is no mistaking its origin. There's no monotony to the carman's work, but it's ever variety. He must be strong, active only with a physical fit, with can be safe to the hand of material, the weight of the car parts without injury. He must be able to perform any of the work from the rail to the roof. The statement of the requirements would be put in repetition, also have been written above this work. Alright, your responsibility. The requirements of the service must be also upper and most important in mind of the carman. The poorly driven screw may tear in the dress of the passenger and secure lampshade with loose light with a glass and deck shade may fall for striking someone, requiring the company to make financial statement. Every surface condition must be taken with consideration guard against, so that these fixtures part will not tear loose and the injured passengers ever should the car overturn. The carman works under little supervision as to the method of performing the work. He simply is told to go to the car and do his part of the repair needed onto it. Generally, the visible defects marked on the foreman, but the mechanic sometimes removes the other parts with his judgment in requiring it. Part B, the work of the carman's upholster.